Leo, it's your in-depth monthly forecast for August 2024 for the Sun, the Ascendant or the Moon. I'm going to share the event chart right at the start of the month shortly on screen. But before I do, I just want to tell you about a very special opportunity. If you order your unique personal horoscope for year 2025 now, I'll give you the rest of year 2024 free, plus you'll get 30% off and also your life roadmap report. Please see the link beneath this video so you can check this out. If you know your tropical astrology really well, why not check out my draconic version? Same offer, the rest of this year free, all of 25, plus your draconic character analysis, and also 30% off. On the screen now, I'm showing the event chart right at the start of the month. And as ever, we need to be mindful of your ruler, the Sun. And the Sun starts this month in the first decan of your sign, which means there's a double resonance of the energy, the radiance that the Sun gives you. But it's also forging a truly charismatic angle to the North Node. The North Node, or point of destiny, is very much about where we're nudged towards, particularly the moving North Node as opposed to our own natal North Node. And this one at the present time is suggesting that change and expansion and adventure are all calling out to you. Now, if you really want to manifest a part of your situation, which means expressing your individuality in a more effective way, Mars, the ruler of Aries, very much to do with our identity and desires, is also forging a fantastic link to the Sun and also the North Node as you come into this month. Further, also in Gemini like Mars, Jupiter, the planet of fortune, is going to be linking up with the Sun from the 3rd through to the 9th exactly in a wonderful sextile which can prove to be very lucky for you. So as you sweep into the new month, Leo, there's lots to be excited about, and of course there is the new moon in your sign on the 4th. New moons are an opportunity to refresh, and the new moon in our own sign, particularly with the Sun being the ruler of your sign, means that it could be argued that the Leo new moon, from a Sun perspective, from a solar perspective, is the most potent of the whole year, and it's blessed by Jupiter, the planet, which gives us a sense of self-belief, of confidence, assurance, but critically, because of the position of Mars and Jupiter in your 11th house in Gemini, it means your connections to others can be hugely enriched this month. What's not to like? Well, it's just that as you come into this new month, the position of Venus in your sign, which has been giving you a desire to manifest your creativity, but also perhaps you've given yourself some kind of glamorous makeover, and that could go on. You could do some more of that on the back of the new moon in your sign. Well, that is checked by Uranus as we come into this new month. Uranus is in the part of your situation to do with how you connect to the world. Is there something creative that you're attracted to that you felt a little bit unsure of taking the next step into? Maybe it means breaking free of something that's been safe, familiar and comfortable. Yes, your sign possesses huge charisma and sparkle and personality, but you are a fixed sign, so sometimes change is something you can resist. Uranus has been pushing you for some time, since 2019 full time, to think about shifting the way you connect to the wider world. So if you are someone who has an artistic side to your nature, if there's something that you have in your repertoire that's rather different and fresh, don't hold back from sharing it as you come into this month. If, however, you work in an environment where you're expected to fit in with what's expected, that could be a more intimidating aspect. The other thing to tell you about at the start of the month is that Mercury, in the part of your situation to do with everyday finance, is in its pre-retrograde shadow and is checked by Mars. So you can't be too idealistic about resources. But what I would also say is the moon in the very friendly 11th house is in a a little bit of a tricky right angle with Neptune. If you are talking about money and it is about friendship or working collaboratively on something where you all pitch in with different skills or assets, I really would get everything written down so everybody knows exactly what their role is. Otherwise, it could be something that causes some issues. I also wouldn't be too keen to share or lend any money to someone that you don't know very well. So I would keep business and pleasure a little bit apart as you come into this new month. But that new moon on the 4th, it's only 2.5 degrees away from a perfect sextile to Jupiter. Jupiter can give us a sense that things can work out well. It's going to be in your sector of alliances for around about another 11 months. So the opportunity to build up your connections is very strong. You need to feel, particularly with the Sun in your sign and initially Venus, that you can be at the heart of things. But I feel that what having Mars and Jupiter in your 11th house as the month begins can help you to be a little bit more collaborative. It doesn't all have to be based on your own individual input. You can work with people closely. In fact, Mars and Jupiter are going to be forging a fantastic link which peaks on the 14th. So if you do want a more sociable August, get together with people. That's a wonderful alliance to have. But I'm going to give you some other really good news, because on the 5th, Mercury may go retrograde, but on the same day, Venus, the planet of relating, but also of money, moves into your second solar house. It does come into a conjunction with the retreat in Mercury on the 8th. That could be a day when you get some good financial news. But I want to temper this a little bit, to be honest, because what's going to happen is that Mercury is going to go opposite Neptune in your 8th house of shared resources, and Venus is going to go opposite Saturn. If there is somebody that you're needing to work with on a contract, shared resources, or perhaps in a romantic context, you're trying to take that next step into a more invested future, financially or emotionally or even intimately, those oppositions can be a bit challenging. One of the reasons for that is Neptune's ability to distort, and Saturn, of course, can be very restraining. So if you are thinking about getting closer to someone, or you're working together, even though there is this huge potential to work in that very cooperative way, it needs to be right. And the thing with the energy of the Mercury retrograde is it's asking you to make sure that you're all over the details, because if you are, you'll be fine. If you're too overconfident, which is possible with the Sun sextile with Jupiter, that could cause an issue. Ironically, on the 15th, Mercury inverts back into your sign. We then have a cazimi on the 19th, when the Sun and Mercury are perfectly together, unified in the sky. The magic of the Sun brings even greater resonance to the talent that Mercury has. So Mercury in your sign is about you'll need to get ideas moving. If you try to get something moving earlier in the month and then hit that stumbling block around finances, perhaps in terms of trying to raise finance, perhaps your bank wasn't quite as supportive as you would like, or you've rethought your idea a little bit, all this can come up to the boil on the back of the full moon in your opposite sign on the 19th. But there could be some surprise developments over the following 2 weeks. What I feel that this full moon is about is understanding that there may be someone that you have to collaborate or work with who sees something very differently to you. But the way this comes out could be very sudden, jarring, unexpected. Still, on the 22nd, the Sun moves into Virgo. So if there is something that you've been having to amend and revisit, check through again with Mercury's retrograde, you can still find traction later in the month if you can flex. The thing with Mercury, particularly in that cazimi in your sign, is not to be too prideful about your ideas. Sometimes we do have to understand that however much we want to go forwards on our terms, sometimes it's how our ideas are received, or even if the idea is absolutely brilliant, other people just aren't ready for it. They can't quite see it, which can cause enormous frustration. But if you've got a brilliant idea that you really believe in, this full moon saying to you, a bit like that Venus square with Uranus at the start of the month, don't hold back from continuing to invest your time and energy into it. The 28th, however, sees Mercury go direct, which I feel will help to ease the logjam. And on the 29th, Venus moves into Libra, which she rules. She loves being in this location. You're going to have a very, very important conversation as this month draws to a close. If you're single, it could have a romantic dimension, but equally it could be about trying to receive that support and getting better feedback than you felt you got earlier in the month. But there's certainly an awful lot of positivity at the start of this month, Leo. And your ability to use your personality power and your sheer force of your drive is really very amped up early on. But it's just around the financial side of things. An initial piece of good news may need to be tempered by the fact that something isn't quite as expected. Flex, keep the dialogue going, and I feel you will get to where you want to be as the month comes to a close. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. About 50% of people who watch my videos are not subscribers. Please help the channel to grow by clicking that sub button and also that bell notification symbol. And please check out that special offer below.